Now, hello everybody. If you're
Hey
here
guys.
without anything,
So I'm pretty sure there's literally no one here, but this is just the VOD, I guess you're watching on playback. But this is the soft launch for what we are currently calling the MGF podcast because we haven't been able to actually come up with a decent name or anything clever. So if you have any ideas, let us know. But yeah, this is Tait, who I met pretty recently. He's rebranded a couple of times in the brief time that I've known him. Right now, he's going by Bison Horn Bricks, I believe.
Bison Horn Games, but close enough.
Bison Horn Games. I was close, but you can catch him over on Instagram. But yeah, Tate's a pretty swell guy, and so we just started. And I wanted to do a podcast for a long time now, and so we decided let's do it because Tait actually knows what's up and how to do things. And so we're like, hey, we're gonna do this, and so we're doing it. But this is a soft launch, just doing this quick test stream, talk about some stuff, see how it goes, and how we can improve. I can't even words, and we're just beginning for a future actual episode, like episode 1. But yeah, Tait, do you have the link? Because we're going to post this on Twitter and Instagram and a couple of the places to at least maybe get a few people in here to participate, because that would be great.
All right.
But yeah.
That was quite the intro, so yeah.
Thank you.
Russ and we kind of kicked off our friendship with Red Dead, and we kind of jumped into the idea of a podcast pretty quickly, so here we are, finally conceptualizing, like, 4 or 5 months later, so we're super excited to bring this to you guys.
Has it already been 4 months?
It has been 5 months, my dude.
God.
We have been talking for quite a while about the podcast.
I met you last month.
I know, but here we are talking about whatever we want to talk about. Welcome to MGF Live. Super excited to be here.
And just sending out a couple links before we actually start talking. So, okay, there it goes up on the Twitter twatters. That was cringy as hell. Sorry about that. And then we're going to put it on Instagram. I hope that link's going to work. Probably not, knowing my luck. But, yeah. So, we have a list of topics to get to. Get started with. Captain Marvel just came out.
It did.
And came out on March 7th, International Women's Day, which is pretty awesome. And, oh man, it was pretty great. Tait hasn't seen it yet. So we're going to be going no spoilers. And real quick, before I even actually really start talking about Captain Marvel, you also notice the graphics are like the profile picture is literally just mine from my main channel, and this is very makeshift at the moment, so please do ignore the graphics at the moment. We're still working on those. And then also the audio, I'm literally on my freaking ancient iPhone 6S, and I'm kind of working on that situation too, so bear with us. That's why this is a soft launch and not the real deal quite yet, but I appreciate anyone being here who's dropping in. So
before we get into Captain Marvel, real quick, I think we should explain the soft launch a little bit more. So essentially what we're doing today is we're testing out, seeing chat, we're seeing how things work. We already had a discrepancy that I just fixed, if you guys were here at the very beginning, if you guys go back and watch that. But there are a few things that we're fixing, a few things that we're tooling. Very soft launch, so don't expect too much of us. But we are here to entertain you guys, we're here to have fun, and we're here to talk about pop culture. So, Captain Marvel just came out International Women's Day. Like Ross said, I have not seen it, but Ross, would you like to kind of give your thoughts real quick on the movie?
Yeah, so Captain Marvel, I went in, we all saw the trailers. We all kept up, well, maybe not all of us, but a lot of people kept up with the trailers and, saw that, the color palette was very drab and they weren't showing the greatest clips of Brie Larson and her performance. It wasn't looking too great, and I was just honestly expecting it to be okay. I wasn't expecting anything amazing.
Yeah.
I just figured as long as the movie did its job of, just introing us to Carol Danvers, we could get on with Endgame and her addition to the MCU and everything would be great. So that's exactly what the movie was, but thankfully more. So I thought that it was really good, not necessarily amazing, but better than I was expecting, and the story also surprised me in a variety of different ways. Brie Larson's performance as Carol Danvers isn't perfect the whole way through. She isn't totally sound in every scene. I didn't really find myself fully connecting with her character, with Captain Marvel, until maybe the later, like the back end of the second half as you move toward the finale. But I'm sure she'll be even better in Endgame, which is really exciting, to think about. And then also Ben Mendelsohn as the lead Skrull, Talos, and the rest of the Skrulls. Oh my God. Everything with the Skrulls was really good. But an interesting take on the Skrulls, different from what I was expecting. And I still don't know how to feel about it, because it could mean that we may or may not get a few storylines in the future that I thought we might be able to have with the Skrulls. But talking about it any more than that kind of dips into spoiler territory. And then also Nick Fury.
Let's not do that. Let's not
no spoilers here.
No spoilers here.
Dude, Nick Fury, Sam Jackson as younger Nick Fury in the 90s was really good. I absolutely loved him. He was great the whole way through. A much less serious Nick Fury who has yet to see, a lot of awful stuff during his years in S.H.I.E.L.D. Because this is like a while. It took place in like 1995, and I think that is already like a while.
That's
like 17 years before the original Avengers. Yeah, that's like So
yeah, Ross, I would like to ask you, comparing Carol Danvers to, or Captain Marvel, whatever you want to call her, to heroes like Scarlet Witch, Black Widow, those other very strong female heroes.
Yeah.
How do you think she did? How do you think she did compared to those great heroes? Well,
I mean, I don't think, I think Brie Larson, she said herself that she's, a bit of an introvert, and so she's not, she needs time to settle into things. And I think she certainly did by the end of the movie. Obviously, they don't shoot things, they shoot the movie all, out of order. So it's not like, they built up to it and she got more comfortable as they went along. That's, why that is. Yeah. But it's just that, I think she'll really settle in with during Endgame. I'm sure she did with filming. And I think that, Scarlett Johansson and Elizabeth, for instance, I think they, they entered the MCU, I think, a little more seamlessly.
Yeah.
Not perfectly, because there are even a lot of people that didn't like the accent that Elizabeth Olsen was having to put on during Age of Ultron. So, growing pains for sure. But
growing pains, absolutely. I mean, we're in growing pains right now with this. That's why we're doing the test stream.
Oh man. But yeah, and it was just really cool going back to the 90s and all the attention to detail. Yeah. I mean, there's a sequence where, she's on Earth and she has to like go to a Radio Shack. She has to pull up a map. I mean, no Siri, no GPS, none of that. And she's just trying to make sense of the primitive, society that she's found herself in, because obviously she doesn't remember her time on Earth. She's been off of Earth as a Kree Skrull, member of the Star Force for a while, and so but there was all that stuff, and then I was really, really excited, especially the opening sequences of the movie when you see the Kree homeworld, Hala.
Yeah,
that was really exciting. I mean, it looks like a smaller version of Coruscant with a much wider range of people and a diverse group of people than I was expecting. Not all of the Kree are blue, and so far in the MCU, whether it be through Guardians or, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we've always seen the Kree to be blue. And Captain Marvel makes a very clear statement that the, population of the Kree that are blue are only, a certain number of them. So that was pretty cool. And I loved everything about Hala. I loved, a lot of it, especially like, I feel like with her origin story and how they set it up, they kind of left out a pretty sizable chunk that I was kind of surprised by. Okay. So it's basically like, the whole point of like what happens to her and then how she ends up, becoming, going to the Kree homeworld and, being involved in the Star Force. all that's left out and not really in the movie.
Oh, that's weird. That's kind of strange.
Yeah, they kind of gloss over that, and you just kind of, you're just left to assume, and you can. And so, I mean, you don't really need it there, but I would have appreciated it to further develop her origin even more.
Yeah.
But everything else is in there, and yeah, I really can't emphasize enough just how great Ben Mendelsohn is.
Yeah.
The movie does have a lot of tie-ins to the larger MCU. I think maybe fewer than people are letting on. I'm seeing all over social media so many people who are like, this is a love letter to the MCU. There are so many references. This is so satisfying for longtime MCU fans. And I agree to a certain extent, but it's not like the movie is littered with things from the MCU. There are a few things that do stand out, and you will catch them very easily.
I mean, Nick Fury being there,
it's not like
is just that by itself is kind of a love letter.
Yeah, I mean, dude, and also Coulson. You got Coulson in there.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's another thing too, is Clark Gregg as Coulson back again finally.
Yeah, how long has it been? How long has it been? Winter Soldier?
Dude,
or was he even in that movie?
No, he wasn't. He hasn't been in the MCU since the original Avengers in 2012.
Are you serious?
When I say that, I mean the movies. He's obviously gone on to do Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for they're going on the 6th season now, so he didn't go anywhere, in the MCU. But as far as the movies go, he's been gone since 2012.
Gotcha. And that's insane. No, that's really Weird. So have you seen the movie Room with Brie Larson?
I have not, but I really want to. I hear it's very good.
It's a great movie, but it's built on the fact that she is an introvert. Her character in that movie is very introvert. I mean, she was locked in a room for a sizable portion of her life.
Yeah,
I think those kind of indie darling roles are better for Brie Larson. I do love her indie work as a film goer, but I think a superhero tough guy is it's very new for her. So I say putting her into Endgame and making her the big kind of protagonist or the big kind of force is maybe a bad idea because of the fact that she hasn't had any time to evolve as a character.
Sure.
Let's say post Endgame, what happens then? I think we'll see a big change in Captain Marvel. Before we get into it, I do want to take a second to look at chat just real quick because we've been live for 10 minutes. So let's say hi to the people in chat. Tweetius Coma, thanks for coming out. Jamie Dorr, thanks for coming out. Cedric, thank you for coming out. And Diesel, thank you guys for being here. They're teasing us. They're teasing us. They say, do these guys even read chat? And Cedric says, no, I don't think so.
I've got the restream thing up right now. It's literally not showing me any of the messages. So what we were talking about a second ago with growing pains, I'm definitely experiencing some on my side.
So try
to refresh.
Try refreshing, yeah.
Maybe I can open something. Yeah, I just have the little notification that says, hooray, the chat is waiting for new messages. So, so
guys, send some messages in chat. Let's help Ross out.
I think I can switch to YouTube, maybe. I'm using the in-browser version, and it's not working too well.
That's unfortunate.
I probably should have downloaded the app. But Tate, if you can let me know what some of them are saying, that would be really great.
So Tweetiest has a bit of a quip. He says this movie is the best Marvel movie because the main character is a woman.
Oh, you cut out.
He's making fun of the online feminists, saying that Captain Marvel is the best Marvel movie.
Listen, so I've really
wait, real quick. Jamie brings up a good point. Jamie Doris says, "Do you think Captain Marvel is the only superhero Thanos fears?" No, I don't. I think Thanos has a respect for Tony Stark, and I think that with respect comes a lot of fear. Fear gains respect in a certain way because of the fact that Tony Stark is such an advanced human being, right?
Yeah.
I think that there is some fear there, and I also think that Thor, due to the fact that he was the only person to best him, we might see some fears towards Thor going forward, but I think overall Thanos is going to be a pretty stoic, fearless guy in Endgame.
I think Thanos will probably be a lot more reserved in Endgame because he's a lot weaker now, and he pulled it off. And
he's weaker, and he completed his goal.
Yeah, so I wonder how far he's going to be willing to go to prevent them from undoing it if he does find out, which I'm sure he will, and then he'll try to stop them.
How do you stop somebody though? If they get the time stone, they go back in time. How is it going to be able to stop?
Well, I mean, they may not get the time stone. I mean, they
true.
They got the devices on their wrists. They're probably going to go into the quantum realm, use some time vortexes. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that I don't even know that Thanos is necessarily aware of Captain Marvel quite yet. She hasn't really, been on the radar. She's very like in the MCU. She's only had her powers for 5 years. And she's very much been on. She's very much been on the down low with the Kree for that time. She's just been in the Star Force squad and really hasn't made her presence known yet. Okay. With this movie, she does. Okay. And so I think Thanos actually, now that I think about it, this all took place, it's taking place in the 90s. So maybe for the last 20 years, he has known about her.
Yeah.
So I mean, maybe he does fear her, and he just didn't bring her up because obviously she wasn't involved. She wasn't there yet.
For sure.
But. Yeah, Thanos, he fears Tony because Tony was the one who upended Loki's entire assault of the planet.
Right,
just
absolutely.
one man was able to stop them, basically, with that nuke. So that's why he, made an effort to actually take Tony out on Titan, as opposed to any of the other ones, because Tony is the only one who has enough ingenuity to actually come up with a plan that can threaten what he's doing.
What's interesting, though? What's interesting? And I was actually reading a synopsis, not a synopsis, but an opinion on Avengers, on specifically Star-Lord, when talking about Infinity War. Tony's plan was just to beat the shit out of Thanos on Titan. Star-Lord was the one who came up with the three fronts attack, right? He came up with that plan. So I think... I mean, I've always been kind of a Star-Lord fan because I liked the first Guardians of the Galaxy. I didn't like the second one that much, but the first Guardians of the Galaxy was really good. I think that kind of moving forward, we're going to see a tactician's mind kind of grow in Star-Lord. Real quick, Diesel says, how powerful do you think Captain Marvel would be if she wielded the Infinity Gauntlet? I think... I mean, that's kind of like what if Superman collected all the Dragon Balls kind of question?
Yeah, I don't... I've never actually watched Dragon Ball Z, so that went over my head.
Oh, I didn't either, but, it's pop culture.
Well, they weren't overly clear with, the specifics of how powerful Captain Marvel is. You just see her powers, you see what she can do. But, Thor, we have a... It, though. Yeah, you see the extent of it, but with Thor, they give you a bit more specifics as to his skin and the durability, and as the God of Thunder. Captain Marvel doesn't get as specific quite yet, but man, if she had the Infinity Gauntlet, that would be pretty nuts. I mean, I think she would definitely be more powerful than Thanos. I mean, anyone who wields, listen, I think anyone who has the Infinity Gauntlet is more powerful than anyone in the universe. Period. So Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet is still more powerful than Captain Marvel. I mean,
I mean, anything like me with the Infinity Gauntlet is stronger than Thanos without it. I mean, and I'm just I'm just some guy. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
We don't know the extent of the Infinity Gauntlet even in the comics. I mean, in the comics, they're immortal kind of beings that are omnipotent. They're 6 immortal beings that are omnipotent. So I mean, there's really no way to kind of quantify power. It's kind of like that Shaggy meme. How can you quantify power?
Yeah.
It's one of those things, I think anybody with the Infinity Gauntlet is infinitely powerful. I mean, because of the fact it's the Infinity Gauntlet, there's no limit.
But yeah, I mean, so I don't want to go into spoilers. I really did enjoy Captain Marvel. I thought it was, just as good as I was hoping. It met my expectations. I wouldn't say it exceeded my expectations by any means. I wouldn't say that. I would say the story did. The story was better than I was expecting, but other than that, it was pretty much what I was what I was hoping for, and not really anything more than that. I was also disappointed with the soundtrack. I didn't find that any of the musical, any of the scores really stood out, which I thought was a shame.
Weird. That's so weird, especially when Black Panther just won an Oscar for its soundtrack.
Yeah,
you'd think that Marvel would be pretty consistent in that department.
Yeah, but I mean, then you have throwing your Wasp and your Captain Marvel, and the soundtrack just really isn't as special, and I think that's a shame. I mean, I have to see it again to maybe keep an ear out for it, but I think I would have noted if there was a really great piece in the soundtrack. I personally didn't really find one watching the movie, but even though I really did love it, I loved the whole movie for the most part. It was really good, not really great, not amazing, just really, really good and worth seeing. You get to the end, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there is a moment at the end which I found to be very disappointing. And as a hardcore MCU fan, I was really bummed out by a certain thing at the end, and I was just like, I know, a lot of people will get a good laugh out of it, but it personally bothered me.
Yeah, no.
And I found that to be quite a shame, without spoiling it.
Yeah, so without spoiling, take any enigmatic kind of sequence or idea in a movie and then just kind of disregard that completely is kind of the situation, which is not cool. It's not cool. I think that we're kind of saying too much already. But no,
I don't want to go any further with that because it might spoil it for anybody.
But yeah, so anyway, we've been talking about Captain Marvel for like 15 minutes now. Would you like to move on to Endgame? Because I think there's a lot more to talk about in that regard.
Yeah, man. So, real quick, I'm working on my Captain, getting ready to showcase her hopefully sometime next week if I can. Running into a few snags with the painting process, but I did get the first photo up and people seem to be enjoying it, so that's really exciting.
Excellent.
But yeah, and so as for Endgame, spoil anything, but I think that the Russo brothers and the writers for Infinity War, Steven and Marcus, those four guys are like, the holy gods of the MCU who know how to handle every little detail and every character, and the Russos know how to direct every actor and really make them shine. So like for Chadwick Boseman and Tom Holland, both of those guys were introduced in Civil War.
In Civil War, okay.
And their potential was just like completely fleshed out. The Russo brothers, did such a great job working with them. And so that's why I think in Captain Marvel, they're really going to help Brie Larson settle into the character even more so that she's even better and we can really connect with her as the next hero to really shepherd the rest of the MCU forward for the next several years.
So Ross, going back to kind of Civil War with Black Panther and Spider-Man particularly, there's two veins, right? Unfortunately, the Phase 2.5 and Phase 3 movies are kind of forgettable, so a lot of people kind of don't remember Homecoming, if that makes sense. But take Homecoming, contrast that with Black Panther. Now, Black Panther, great cultural movie. Great with the advancements in the film industry. All of the real-world attributes of that movie were fantastic, don't get me wrong. But the storyline, what we're getting in Spider-Man versus what we're getting in Black Panther, I mean, Spider-Man was done so well. Spider-Man Homecoming is one of my favorite MCU movies, if not my number one favorite, because Spider-Man is my favorite Marvel hero. But it was done so well. Now, was Michael Keaton, a super great imposing villain like Thanos? No. Was he supposed to be? No. That movie was about Peter. That movie was about Peter coming to terms with, what it means to be the actual Spider-Man. Whereas Black Panther, I mean, the Chadwick Boseman, he's an alright actor, but he just kind of played a very stoic, boring protagonist. And they kind of put all of their resources into making Killmonger an amazing antagonist. Now, are antagonists more fascinating to just sentient beings than protagonists? Absolutely, because they drive the plot forward. But if it was equal, if they had a kind of an equal thing to play off of, I think the movie would have been a lot better. I also think that killing off Claw was stupid.
So we're talking about Black Panther now. Yeah, I think Ryan Coogler did a good job in throwing in some humor to really, help, soften that.
What are those?
I mean,
what are those?
Well, I'm sure the scenes that I can't think of off the top of my head, but I think that it works though for T'Challa. I mean, he is a stoic guy, raised through discipline to become the king of Wakanda. It's just, who he is. So I mean, personally, I'm not bothered by it, but going back to the earlier point that the Russo brothers, I think, are really going to, I'm sure that they did a great job in helping Brie Larson really settle in when they were filming Endgame, and apparently they're just now wrapping up editing Endgame, which is really exciting.
Yeah, we are right there at the end. I mean, we're only a couple months away, are we not?
49 days left now?
49 days. So it comes out in April.
But Tweety is Coma saying, read chat, Ross and Tate, or I'll cut your kneecaps off. Oh man.
Oh jeez. You know what? My knees don't work, so go for it, buddy.
Oh no.
Jamie Dorr says Black Panther is coming back for Endgame. Yeah, dude, he signed on for what was it, a 4-movie deal or something like that?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I think Chadwick Boseman is in this for the long haul. I don't think he's going anywhere. I'm sure. Yeah, listen. All of the Avengers are coming back by the end of the movie. I mean, at least most of them. I mean, Vision and Gamora are still up in the air. I think Loki's probably going to stay dead. So, I mean, but everybody else is coming back. So it's fine.
I really hope that they're just done. I really hope that they're dead because of the fact that it would have such more impact if people stay dead. And
listen.
Now, this is crazy, Ross.
Yeah.
I really want Endgame to keep the apocalypse, keep half the population thing, keep like half the people got wiped out. They'll never do that though. They'll just go back in time.
Yeah,
they'll just go back in time and fix everything. But think about how great of a universe it would be if they saved the heroes, but they only saved the heroes. They said we only have enough whatever powers to save our fellow Avengers.
That would be so weird though if you next 10, 20 years only have of a universe, of population, worth of people. I think that would be weird, and I don't think Marvel, would really want to like limit themselves in that way.
Yeah,
which is why I think the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer makes it pretty clear that they're gonna.
Yeah, I agree.
Reverse everything.
Yeah, no, that sucks. They should have waited until after Endgame to release that trailer, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem. I think that maybe if but they obviously wanted to come out, pretty close.
They want to build hype.
They want the movie to come out in the summer, and it's already coming out in July. But I think if maybe they could have pushed the movie back to August, it would have maybe allowed for a little bit more room to not show a trailer quite yet, and we could have held off a bit. But obviously, that's how it worked out, and so I understand. I mean
that's my biggest critique on cinematic universes is that there's no stakes. Because actors will sign on, there will be more movies, so it makes it hard to enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, so I think killing off Vision and Gamora dead is would work for making the stakes feel real, but I think the stakes are going to feel plenty real once Captain America dies, or even Tony too. I think by the end of Endgame, because I also think Hawkeye is going to die. I think Nebula's going to die. So I think the stakes will feel very real after Endgame.
Well, Karen Gillan has other work because she's doing Jumanji.
Oh, sure.
And she's doing other action movies. So she doesn't need... I mean, is the MCU like the best movie deal you can do? Absolutely. But she's not locked in like someone like Chadwick Boseman or Chris Hemsworth. She's...
Right, and same with Jeremy Renner.
Exactly. He's making a new movie every summer. He has a new blockbuster.
Listen, I think by showing us Hawkeye has a family, you kind of ended his story very early on. To where what his ultimate, where he ultimately needs to go as a character, back to his family to retire.
I hope his family got wiped out. I hope his family died in the snap.
I think they absolutely did.
I think they absolutely did as well. No, like that needs to happen. If that didn't happen, there would be no point of him becoming Ronin if that didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, like even if his wife, if his kids survived, he probably wouldn't have suited up as Ronin.
Right.
So I think they all went up. Like they all turned to dust.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with that though. Like if his kids survived and his wife died, he wouldn't do it. But I think there's like that threshold, right? That parenting threshold. Like, okay, your kids are gone. It's time to suit up, kind of situation.
So I'm curious. I'm curious if his whole family will be gone, just like the kids or what. But
I think they'll all be gone because he's seen by himself. A Ronin is somebody who travels by themselves. It's a hired gun, a hired sword that travels by themselves. So I totally think his family's just done.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And back to Nebula, her story is really done. Like her ultimate end goal as a character is to kill Thanos. I don't think she'll succeed. It'll ultimately be, of course, up to Tony and Cap.
Yeah.
But I think, her story ends with Thanos and Gamora, and so I think that her story ends with Endgame, and so she'll die. I don't think she's making it past Endgame.
And plus,
but as for anyone else, now here's the thing. As for like Thor and the Hulk, Chris Hemsworth and Mark Ruffalo have made it pretty clear. You give them a good script, those guys are sick.
Yeah.
And I think that after Endgame, with the exit of Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, if they both do go, or even just one of them, and regardless, people are, the main cast is starting to dive out now after Endgame. They need to hang on to as many of the original actors as possible. So I don't see Thor or Hulk dying in Endgame at all. But
you know what, Ross, real quick, I just really hope that they don't try to place hold Tony Stark. I really hope there's no Iron Man. Let Iron Man be done. Put somebody in similar technology, but don't call them Iron Man. Don't like bring Riri Williams in. Just don't touch Iron Man. Iron Man's done. If Tony Stark either retires or, you know, dies or whatever in Endgame, just leave Iron Man as Tony Stark. That's it. Don't come back.
Listen,
put Falcon in Iron Man armor. Put, you know, whoever, give them Iron Man technology. Give them something. Give them Arc technology. We have War Machine, right? We have that cool CGI robot guy.
Well, that's another thing too. Actually, I think War Machine's gonna die. Because listen, man, Don Cheadle's he can't do this forever either. I think he's gonna dive out with Endgame too.
You do.
Oh yeah.
Then put somebody in an Iron Man suit. I mean, already Peter Parker has his Arc technology. So
you can have the essence of Tony Stark continue to live on throughout the MCU, but you do not recast Robert Downey Jr. And Kevin Feige's previous comments on this, like a year or two ago, where he said that they plan on James Bonding it, I think that's very concerning, because that is the case,
they shouldn't touch Iron Man.
I feel like the day they recast Iron Man would be the day that the MCU would die and start to lose, its credence. Like I don't see that working at all. And Chris Evans, you can, Captain America is easier. You can pass the shield off to Bucky. You can pass the shield off to Anthony Mackie. You already have two candidates right there who are, already set up. But yeah, I mean, of course you still have Paul Rudd and I'm curious how far the MCU will go, because I think obviously they're going to need the X-Men. Obviously they're going to need the Fantastic Four. I think those two teams will really shepherd us into the future for the MCU.
Yeah, I hope Phase 4. I hope, because Phase 4 is what, after... Are we in Phase 4? We're in Phase 3, correct?
We're in Phase 3. Spider-Man Far From Home picked Phase 4.
Okay, I hope Phase 4 includes the X-Men, includes the Fantastic Four, because
we'll see, man.
We need some variation in our MCU right now, because in my opinion, I kind of dipped out during Phase 1 personally.
Well, dude, in 2012 they gave us the slate. They told us they were doing Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Ant-Man. They laid it out, and so we knew what was happening all the way up until like 2014, and then in 2014 they came out with the full Phase 3 list, and so they didn't stick to the release dates, but they showed us all the movies that they were doing, so we knew what was coming out. And then they even threw in Ant-Man and the Wasp and Spider-Man Homecoming on top of that.
Yeah.
And so we've always known what's been coming, at least several years out. And this is the first time now after Endgame, after Far From Home, where they're going to be taking 10 months off, and we still don't know what's coming next year. And so there's a lot of mystery. There's a lot of mystery. Yeah, no, I think that's great. I think we all need a break after Far From Home.
Okay. Recast the X-Men. Except
Tate, by the way, you should probably change the graphics.
Oh, because we're still talking about Endgame, but
you got Captain Marvel on there on my feed. Oh, wait.
Oh, really? No, I got Endgame up here.
Okay, cool, gotcha.
Yeah,
I just realized I have the gray dot next to my live, and so it's like actually not updated. Never mind.
Yeah, no, we're cool. Yeah, but man, there's so much they can do with the extended Marvel license that they're going to get with the Fox deal.
Yeah,
I mean, shoot. Well, I think we do. We need a recasted X-Men. We need a good cast. We need a completely retooled Fantastic Four. Like, I don't think we need another solo Fantastic Four movie. I think we need those characters in a Guardians of the Galaxy or in an Infinity War 2 or something like that. Because I want to see. So you've read the comics. You've read a bit. Do you remember the council, the Illuminati Council with Mr. Fantastic and all of his heroes? I think we need that direction. I
don't think they're going to do that.
I don't think they would, but that's the direction we need, because if they try and...
I don't think they want to start advertising their most iconic characters as members of the Illuminati. That's not going to happen.
No. I don't think that they would do Illuminati. They can call it whatever they want. They could call it the Council. They could do anything like that. But what I think is that there cannot be another just Fantastic Four movie. It's doomed to fail, I think. personally.
I agree. I mean, yeah. So I think Marvel's strategy of introducing the iconic characters in the middle of the big crossover events is good because people are already on board. They're already on the train, and then more heroes, more characters hop on, and everyone's just way more accepting. Like, okay, and we just keep going. And that's great, and so it works, and it worked in Civil War. You know, and yeah. So I think that would probably be best. I'm really looking forward to what that means for the MCU because then obviously you get the Baxter building with that. You'll get Oscorp eventually when they start to expand more with Spider-Man. I think
Spider-Man 3 has to include Oscorp. It has to.
Oh yeah.
Spider-Man 3 does not.
Oh yeah, tweeted. I did actually stop watching The Flash. I tried to watch a few episodes of season 5 and I almost died. I was like, yeah. Tate, you still there? Oh no. Tate.
Hello.
Did I lose you? Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, my mic was being weird.
Okay.
But yeah, The Flash. What's the situation with that show?
Well, basically, season 1 was amazing with all the new metas, Barry getting his powers and learning all of his new abilities with the Speed Force, dealing with his father in prison and the mystery of the Reverse Flash and who he ultimately wound up being, and revealing bits and bits. The show, never lost its momentum all the way through season 1. It was great. And then arguably the same can be said for season 2, except season 2, the story wasn't as sound. It wasn't as rock solid. And then the ultimate reveal for who Zoom wound up being wasn't as great as we were hoping. And then it was very convoluted very quickly. And then season 3 just continued that trend. And Wally West was not introduced in the best of ways. Savitar was kind of weird but cool looking. And then, you had this, Anarchy was kind of weird. You just had then, slowly but surely more and more mediocre episodes started building and building. And before you know it, The Flash was completely mediocre altogether. And then season 4 was unwatchable. And then season 5 is barely watchable. And now
that's unfortunate.
The main cast members, Carlos Valdez and Danielle Panabaker are about to announce that they're diving out.
Killer Frost.
Yeah, man.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
that's
dude.
Insane.
Two of the main cast members are about to exit the series. I mean,
that's
the show is falling apart. The show is falling apart, and it's, for me, already did, which is why I stopped watching it a long time ago. But
yeah, so I stopped watching. I had binge watched seasons 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And then for Arrow, I had binge watched every season except for the couple recent ones. Yeah, no, those shows, they take a massive dip in quality. A huge dip. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
And like why. Arrow, at least with Arrow, it's been up and down. So like season 2 was obviously always known across the internet as being fantastic. Season 3 was okay, but a little too weird with the League of Shadows, or I'm sorry, League of Assassins in this case. And then season 4 was hot trash. I mean, garbage. Season 5 was a much better return to form with a really great villain and some great new characters. Season 6 was almost like a filler season. It was, with a mediocre set of villains.
Yeah.
And it just worked, but it really felt redundant. And then season 7 has been really, has been very solid, I think, so far with, all the different reveals that they've been doing and very much how they're handling the final elements of Oliver Queen's story as the Green Arrow in Star City. I won't spoil anything about what goes down, but I mean it's very different from the previous seasons, especially the first several. And I've really been enjoying season 7, and I'm really glad again that Stephen Amell has made the decision not to let this go on for any longer. Because I remember years ago, I always thought how is this series still going? Like, are they really going to make it past season 5? And oh my God. They went past season 5 and we're heading for season 8 this fall. I mean, that's nuts. I never thought that it was going to get this far. And they've made it work for the most part. Hasn't been perfect, but it's been functional. And season 8, as the 10 episodes, I think is a good call because Oliver Queen, if you're watching the show right now, you know that he's at the end of his story. I mean, he's got more responsibilities now as a person, and a lot of shit has hit the fan basically for his for him as the Green Arrow, and I think that it makes sense. They're very much dealing with the end game, if you will, of his story, and so it's like they need to wrap it up. They need to wrap it up.
An unfortunate thing to me is that they kind of they kind of locked off his story by doing that whole future episode where he was an old man with a robo arm. And I mean, I'm a DC guy. I've been reading DC comics my whole life. I love old, mature Oliver Queen.
That was cool. It was hard because
but it limits the series.
The makeup wasn't great. You know, his body is still the same. That's always hard with flash forwards, is you cannot actually get the future version of the actor, and so you just wind up throwing some wrinkles and, you know, some gray hair on the actor you have now, and it was weird. It was weird,
yeah,
but you know,
still,
it was functional.
From a storytelling standpoint, it locks off the story pretty drastically. It really locks off the story.
Tate, how about the freaking Endgame Lego sets?
Oh yeah, no, let's talk about that. Yeah. Oh, okay. So I'm going to. So here's your thumbnail. I'm gonna pull up the rant. I'm gonna pull up the rant. So I'm gonna look for that if you'd like to intro it. But I have not taken a good look at these sets yet. I'm not. I don't buy Lego sets. I just mock build. Yeah, but go for it.
I did a video breaking this down. I think it went over pretty well. And yeah, so what Lego has done, and you know, this has been a common thing for Lego Marvel superheroes for a long time now. So we've always had this problem for several years now of Lego cutting corners and cheaping out where they really don't have to. And obviously they also base these sets off of concept art because they have to get started on them a year in advance. And so you usually wind up with inaccuracies that Lego sometimes corrects later, but usually not all the time.
Well, like the old
or like Spider-Man Homecoming, they this symbol, or like Vision's Mind Stone color, you know, sort of, you know, things like that they'll sometimes fix. But then a lot of it is also just attributed to just sheer, you know, Lego, you know, just being cheap, right? So it's a shame because, you know, to a point I understand. You know, last year Lego Superheroes wasn't even on the top 5 list of best-selling themes, which I thought was pretty crazy. So it's not Lego's biggest moneymaker, and I understand that. But I think Lego has a big problem with how they allocate resources and where they, you know, and how they distribute resources to certain minifigures and the sets too. I mean, the actual builds. And I think, you know, they made some strides to improving this a little bit. Like we finally have in the first set, Captain America's Outrider attack. They did make him a new helmet, which is not perfect, but it is a helmet, and it is better than what we've been getting for the last several years. Yeah, you know, the motorcycle is a bit ridiculous.
Didn't we have the same, like, Avengers 2012 print until, like, 2015?
The same what?
The same print for Captain America for, like, 3 years.
Wasn't
it something horrible like that?
Well, they had one in 2012. You did have the same one for, like, 3 years with, they started it with Age of Ultron, and they kept it going all the way up until... Man, I think it was Civil War, so a good like 2 or 3 years there where they used that same Captain America head, and it wasn't good because they always had the printing problem there. So Lego did make a stride to improve that a little bit. You still have a printing problem on the face because now it's too pale, but you know it is better than what we've been getting. They made a new shield, which is nice, but then the motorcycle is kind of a weird build and doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You know, it's a little bit oversized.
It doesn't make sense. The entire HQ set. That's so stupid. That HQ set drives me nuts.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, jumping ahead to that, it's like you look at that and it's like you just simplify that a little bit more and it could have been a junior set. And I think that's, you know, that's a shame because
how much is it? I don't know why. Is it $100?
Dude,
that price
it's going to be like, no, it's like 90.
That's kind of steep though for what you're getting.
Yeah, you're just getting a couple of small buildings, a couple of small cars and a few minifigs. Listen, Lego has done worse with pricing before, but 90 is still a little steep for it. I mean, and then, you know, Thanos is a really good example of Lego still cutting corners because, you know, I understand this doesn't really factor into their financial decision-making when it comes to making new molds, but Thanos has now become one of the most popularly, you know, known characters in all of pop culture in the world after Infinity War. And, you know, he's on the level of Darth Vader now, right? You know, a lot of people know who Thanos is now. And to just rehash that same comic book version of his armor, that same mold they introduced in 2016, and you know, giving him a round helmet with big circular earmuffs has been really a shame because, you know, something that a lot of people won't realize is that this is it. You know, this is going to be it for Thanos. This is going to be it for Captain America and maybe Iron Man. So you're not getting new versions of these characters again anytime soon. And so for Lego to continue this trend and to continue to cheap out, I think was a shame. And you know, even with Captain Marvel, where it was a very easy fix, right? A new printed face for her, a hairpiece that they already have in production, just in a different color, a dirty blonde color. Giving her double molded boots, which they already have plenty of on the production lines, and not doing that, I think was a real shame, and a lot of people agreed. And I think that, what Lego could have done with this set is they could have taken these two stupid little vehicles that they included for playability, and I understand it's for kids, but they could have done better with the building, because you look at the Sanctum Sanctorum showdown from last year. You had the Sanctum Sanctorum and the apartment building with the pizzeria all built into one foldable building with all kinds of detail, like a newspaper that read, had something about Daredevil on it, all these different features, Peter's bedroom, and all these, little details in it and features that were really fun and just made for a perfect play set. You didn't need these extra stupid little vehicles tossed in there, because now those vehicles take away resources from the building, and what do you know? You end up with this mediocre, lackluster version of the Avengers HQ, and it's really disappointing, because this is supposed to be the big final Avengers set, and this is what we get. And it's a shame, man. Yeah. It's a shame, because and then you look back to the concept art issue again, and it looks like, Lego didn't receive the concept art for Professor Hulk quite yet, because they gave us a new version of just what is a standard Hulk with a new print on the face and for the pants, or the shorts. And so, it works. It's okay. But for the most part, it's disappointing. And I'm very curious as to what these Quantum Realm suits are going to look like in the movie. How much screen time are they going to occupy? Because you got Hasbro and on practically all of the Avengers except for Iron Man and Captain Marvel. And so, you are not getting any variety with the Avengers, with the Endgame merchandising. And I think that is a shame.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
It takes away their uniqueness, and it's just very repetitive and very boring at the end of the day. And, I was hoping we would get more unique costumes with the Avengers HQ, and instead it's just, again, Nebula's Inner Quantum Realm suit, and then, again, Tony and Marvel are the only Avengers thrown in that actually have their original costumes on. And I think that sucks, man. And, but then, you look at the Quinjet that we're getting, and that's like it's going to be a really great build. Yeah, the Quinjet is the best one we've had in years. Lego has released since 2012, absolutely. The one they released in 2015 for Age of Ultron was garbage. The one they released in the airport battle for 2016, Civil War, garbage. The one they just put out for Captain Marvel, the prototype Quinjet, mostly garbage. And so to finally have a really good Quinjet to send the Avengers off with, I think is really great. I'm excited for that, man, because I haven't had my actual Quinjet out of storage in many years. And it looks like they even have an interior back for it, so that's great. The new Chitauri soldiers look awesome. Yeah. They didn't give Rocket Raccoon any mid legs, like those new Harry Potter legs that are posable. Did you see those?
Yeah. I think that's fine though. He's a raccoon. He's super small.
But it would have been cool.
I do want to start discussing kind of the more real world portion of this. The more businessy side of it. Now, Marvel, of course, does not sell well. You know what does in terms of superheroes? DC. And why does DC sell well? Because of Batman. Batman is so iconic. He has cartoon after cartoon. Batman cartoons are consistently good as well. So you have consistent...
Well, not every time. You have some weird ones thrown in.
Okay, did you see the weird one, like the 2003 Batman cartoon? Like, that was weird, but it was
I don't
really
know, but
good.
You're cutting out, and I'm trying to keep up.
Oh, gosh. But anyway... Now, Batman cartoons are consistently good. They're consistently on TV. Batman is everywhere.
Yeah.
Kids love Batman. He's got colorful bad guys. He's got, zany cars and vehicles. Batman's super open-ended. And adults like Batman because when you actually look at who he is a character that is, 90% internal conflict because of the fact that his adversary has no physical capabilities. When you look at the Joker versus Batman, there's nothing physically capable. So Batman is such a perfect hero and such a perfect franchise. It's super easy to sell Batman. You can sell it to kids. You can sell it to adults. And that's why we see these consistently great Batman figures. And the sets are okay. I'm not a huge fan of the Lego designs. But that's why we see so much attention towards Batman, and I think it really does pull away from the Marvel stuff.
Well, I don't really think that necessarily factors in. I think, and we can only speculate here. No one really knows what goes on behind the scenes.
Of course.
No one really knows. We can only speculate. And so obviously you have a lot of licensing fees that go into this. Disney, I assume, has been charging Lego up the nose, especially with Star Wars. We've seen the price increases on the Star Wars sets. It's been absurd.
Yeah, and then those sets are also dipping in quality. The Star Wars ones?
Oh yeah, and not for really good. They're just charging through the nose for them because Lego themselves are being charged through the nose to produce them.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's only speculation, but there's that. And then, you just also have, again, a lot of it can be attributed to Lego just being like, hey, we've got this face from Emilia Clarke's character Kira from the Solo Millennium Falcon still in the production line. Slap that on Captain Marvel. We've got we've got the Thanos mold from the Avengers still in the production lines. Just reuse that again. And I understand that the superheroes don't sell as well. So I think that if maybe, and they did improve the Ant-Man helmet recently, so you got to hand that to them.
Yeah, but that was also a Firefly helmet.
Yeah, but it was designed for Ant-Man. You can tell.
Yeah, okay.
They just, for some reason, couldn't get it out the door on the production lines to an actual Ant-Man minifigure before they used it on Firefly.
It's perfect for 2003 Firefly. It is absolutely perfect.
It's even more perfect for Ant-Man. Like back, and you can absolutely tell it is designed to be Ant-Man.
Okay.
I can show you after, but it's like
I'm googling it right now.
If you look at the back, the sides, the antennas, and the two layers of the antennas, you can tell it is Ant-Man's helmet that for whatever reason could not be used for Ant-Man and the Wasp, and instead they wound up introducing it on Firefly when it is very clearly meant for Ant-Man, so they finally used it on him in Endgame. And it's a little smooth on the front. It's not perfect, but it is so much better than the inaccurate helmet that we've been getting for so long with the round lenses and the open mouth. So yeah, but it's just, it bothers me because Infinity War, the sets last year were by no means perfect. They had their problems too. And I pointed out each one of them as I reviewed those sets. But listen, man, I thought the sets for Endgame were going to be a little bit more sound because, last year with Infinity War, you had like the Black Panther set, which was awful. That set sucked.
Yeah.
You had problems with the minifigs, but for the most part, you had really good builds, man. Like the Sanctum Sanctorum was amazing. The the Benatar was amazing. The pod that goes on the back of it from Thor's Weapon Quest was really cool and very creative. You had some really great stuff from those sets. The Hulkbuster with, the turret was all really great, and Proxima Midnight, all that stuff. And then, man, to see the Avengers HQ be so limiting, to see Captain America's, motorbike to be so ridiculous looking, to not even have a sixth set this time, it is disappointing. And I hope that, at some point Lego will not cut as many corners, even though I realize that it may be financially sound for them, to make new pieces. I mean, I understand that. But if we can just maybe prioritize Captain Marvel, prioritize Thanos, and then maybe let Iron Man, Hawkeye, and Thor, and the rest of them fall by the wayside a little bit, just to distribute resources to where they should be important, So, like, for instance, we can have a really nice Hulk or something when Hulk shows up next time in the MCU. Maybe we should take those resources and make a really good Thanos now instead of making a brand new Hulk. Things like that. Just things like that.
I agree with that too. Yeah, but make a great looking Captain America now while we still can.
Right, which they did, and
it's just unfortunate though that we're not getting the full suit. The lack of a full suit is really unfortunate.
Yeah, man, because it's unlikely that that they're going to be doing more Endgame sets, and it's also unlikely that they're going to be doing those 4-packs again, because it didn't really work out the first time when they made the Bricktober packs, because they made them exclusive for Toys R Us, and then Toys R Us shut down, and it quickly became a mess. So Lego's first effort to sell minifigs separately pretty much went down the toilet until just these past few days when Lego's offering it for free with purchases of 75 or more, which is really cool. And they also just revealed. Really cool. We just got a leak, dude. I didn't tell you about this yet, but there's a new leak that shows that you're going to get a architecture size, kind of like MIDI scale.
Yeah, I've seen it. The Avengers Tower.
Avengers Tower, yeah. And it's really cool, and that's going to be coming next month with purchases of, I believe, $80 or more.
That's a nice looking little set.
Yeah, man, and it sucks though because I don't think I'm personally going to get it, because I'm pretty sure I'll wind up getting the Endgame sets before that deal goes live with Lego. And so even, or who knows, man, maybe if I don't, then I'll just drive to my Lego store 2 hours away and I will get it. But If you ask me, that is pretty awesome. And when I saw the Bricktober pack went up, and that you can get it now, right now for purchases 75 or more, you can get that Infinity War pack.
Any purchase as well.
Any purchase, yeah. I was like, you know what? I really don't want to spend $75. I just went on Bricklink and I got one for $30.
Yeah, there you go.
So
yeah, no, I mean, I think it's super cool that they're doing those packs, but I honestly don't think it'll happen again. I
wouldn't say it won't happen again. I pulled off because of how much it quickly became a mess for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that they at least tried, because they did make some pretty nice minifigs with those packs. But I'm looking forward to the War Machine Buster. That build looks really cool. Looks like it'll pair really well with last year's Hulk Buster. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to the Hall of Armor, especially with the Igor, the Bone Suit, and the Mark V. I never thought we would get those. The Mark I is very disappointing for me, but I'm glad a lot of people seem to still be looking forward to it despite the mediocre helmet. And then also, it stacks, right? It looks like the Hall of Armor actually stacks, so there may be reason to buy multiples of these.
Yeah, I saw your post about the other day.
Yeah, and do you remember in Iron Man 3, Wine Cellar, like the giant Iron Legion room?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what you could do with this set if it stacks like that. You could set up a wall of Iron Man suits, and that would be so great. So I'm looking forward to the Hall of Armor set by far, like the most.
The Hall of Armor set's nice. The Igor kind of looks weird, in my opinion.
I agree.
It's kind of a derpy looking build, but
something that I really didn't talk about when I'm out.
Oh, you're breaking up. You're breaking up.
Oh, am I still breaking up now?
No, you're good.
Sorry. Yeah. So many years ago, I made an Igor suit with a fantastic mock builder by the name of Tyler Kleitz, Legoholic, and I think he's still active in the community. Guy makes incredible builds. He is unbelievably talented. It is freaky. And he made a couple Igor suits, and so believe me when I say that it is challenging to make this suit minifigure scale while also being able to fit a minifigure in there. Doing it for the Hulkbuster is one thing because the Hulkbuster is bigger.
If it's a minifig, I didn't know that. That's
dude, impressive. If you look at the back of the box, it only fits inside.
That's pretty good. That's good.
Yeah, and so it's challenging. Personally, I don't mind. I think the Igor actually looks really good. It's just the faceplate and the overextended chin looks ridiculous, and I'm definitely going to change that on mine.
Yeah.
And I wish that they hadn't done that. But either way, I mean, the Endgame sets overall are not as good as the Infinity War line, and even the Infinity War line was problematic. So there are a lot of improvements that LEGO could make. I understand they can't make every minifigure perfect, but if they can at least redistribute resources to characters of a higher priority, debuting characters like Thanos or Captain Marvel, and then focus on, making new versions of other characters for, just refocusing, what figure gets better treatment, and giving, putting a little foresight into it, like I said earlier, to maybe like next time around we see Ant-Man, or, next time we see Wasp, giving her a better helmet, it's just a matter of timing. I think. But again, it's all speculation. None of us really know how this whole thing works.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
yeah, but I mean, LEGO is doing a lot of good things, and I mean, I prefer. I know you're a huge Marvel guy, but I prefer LEGO's original themes. They're doing something special with their new Hidden Side line. I only took a glance at this, so I don't really know anything about it. But I mean, I just know that you have to use an app to actually play with the set, which sounds interesting. Yeah, it's going to die after one wave or two waves because of the fact that they're relying on the app. They're going to be like, oh, the app's not getting enough downloads, so let's stop the sets, even if the sets are outselling Ninjago. But yeah, I mean, the molds are great. They have a little ghost dog, which is awesome, which I'm going to start using for my game. They have a new hoodie piece that has a baseball cap underneath it. They have great prints. They have a lot of prints that don't utilize yellow necks. So, able to use with flesh heads. They have great new pieces, great new colors for pieces. I'm really excited about the Hidden Side line.
I'll be honest, man. It sounds like something that's going to die out pretty quick. Not just the app, but the line as a whole. Tried so many times in recent years, like Chima, Nexo Knights. I mean, I think even Agents kind of went under. That caved. I mean,
No, dude, Hidden Side is getting one line. Just like it's kind of, to me, it's in the same niche as the Scooby Doo sets, except those were branded. You know what I mean?
Right,
Those were
right.
branded. Yeah, no, Hidden Side's dead after a line. I'm not giving it more than that. With Ninjago slowly kind of petering out, I really hope we get another historical theme. Whether that be
Ninjago
knights.
phasing out has Ninjago is Lego's most successful original brand, and so I
Yeah.
think that Ninjago has maybe another 5 or 10 years left.
You
at
do?
most.
You think so? I think they
I
were
think
canceling.
10.
Are they canceling the show? They are canceling the show, right?
I honestly couldn't tell you, but I mean, maybe 10 years is being way too generous. I think Ninjago has maybe another 5 years at best.
Yeah, yeah. Ninjago, like the legacy sets that just came out, I felt like that was kind of to me showed that Ninjago has 3 years left. So I really hope if my idea is correct, if my suspicion is correct, I really hope they bring back historical themes, whether that be Castle, whether that be Wild West, whether that be pirates. I really want another historical theme.
You know what I would like Lego to do, and I know they won't, but if they were able to do Western sets or Castle sets, if they could give us fleshy guys a moment to shine and not do yellow for the minifigs, that would be great, because then I would be even more interested.
Dude, oh my gosh.
But I know so many people would have a problem with that, so it's not going to happen, and that we're absolutely the minority there.
Oh yeah.
But I think that would be great. Personally.
Yeah, I'm working on assembling a kind of pirate game right now, and I want to do a medieval game, but I'm a flesh purist. I just think that the figures look so much better, and it just assemble that to get all of the medieval and all the specifically the pirates because of all the tatters in the clothing. So I'm using a lot of Pirates of the Caribbean, but all of that kind of stuff. It's a challenge to get flesh colored heads for that kind of stuff. Jamie Doors says, "What about Bionicle? I don't foresee Bionicle coming back. They tried hard in 2014?
Yeah, and Tate, do you have a background in Bionicle? Like, did you grow up with those two?
I mean, I don't have my memory of growing up, so.
Oh, well, I mean, like, do you?
I have some Bionicle stuff like in my bins, but.
Okay, so you did have them at one point in the past.
Apparently.
Okay, yeah. So, I think that Bionicle is so important for so many people, but for me personally, it totally passed me by. And I was not involved with Bionicle. I never got on board, and so I don't really personally care, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But it seems pretty interesting. I think I'm glad a lot of people.
System right now. We just need good brick system. Like Bionicle system. I don't foresee it coming back. I think they would do brick built Bionicle mechs before they bring back Bionicle. Personally.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, man. So I mean, as just going back to Endgame for a second. So like, there's been this huge problem with reference, because obviously Marvel's been keeping everything on the down low, rightfully so. Now that they have their audience and the money is guaranteed, everybody's going to show up to see Endgame.
Yeah.
They don't have to show a lot. But obviously that's been problematic for me as a customizer, and I've been in this limbo state, kind of working on a few passion projects in the form of Arthur Morgan from Red Dead 2 and the Spider-Man PS4 advanced suit from Spider-Man PS4. And and so, getting caught up with those and this lack of reference, I kind of like come up to the, suddenly it's March and there's 49 days left until the movie, and I've, just now gotten started on Captain Marvel. And, realistically, I only have reference for like Captain America in his new suit, the stealth suit that he's wearing again, Thanos, Thor, and the Quantum Realm suits. I can't make anyone else right now. And even after the toys come out, they won't be overly helpful either, especially with color schemes. And so I'm actually not going to have a big major showcase for Endgame. Instead, those minifigures are going to be trickled throughout the year now, because there just simply hasn't been enough material released. And
no, that's fair though. That's really fair. I think people will understand that.
Yeah, and a lot of people are like, hey, why don't you actually just showcase minifigures whenever? And more recently I have.
Yeah.
But for me, what's always been great making custom minifigures around the release date and posting the showcases then is that's when the hype is at its peak. That's when anticipation is at max, and that's just when it's the most fun.
Absolutely.
And delivering on that the last several years has been really great, and it's always you know, made those points in time really exciting for me. Like the build up to Infinity War was just so awesome, just constantly working on those figures. It was just a surge of creativity for like 5 straight months, and it just has not been the same for Endgame because they released so little. But yeah, I mean, I figured I'd mention that, you know, in our first test episode here, because I know a lot of people are curious about it. But it's going to happen, just not in the form that I'm expecting, and I'll see what I can come up with by, you know, come April 27th. But I'm also going to Star Wars Celebration in Chicago, and
when is that?
And then it's April 11th through the 15th. And
cool.
So I'm going to be gone for a week. So like 7 out of those 40, actually like 6 out of those 49 days is already gone. You know, and then the Endgame sets are going to come out, and I'm going to have to spend at least 4 or 5 days reviewing those. So there goes another, you know, block of days. And so basically I've got realistically a month, if not less, to make something for Endgame, and it's like not happening. And so I don't know. It's going to, you know, ultimately I'm going to have a few figures when Endgame comes out, just not the full team by any stretch. But I'll be making those figures, you know, trickling them out on the channel over the course of, like, you know, the summer and the fall. But yeah, never a shortage of minifigures to make now, especially with several Endgame minifigures having to be pushed back. So
yeah, but Ross, when are you making the entire cast of Arrow? that's my question. I mean,
the cast. When am I making the crew? Where's the Kevin Feige minifigure?
Yeah, well, come on.
Oh my God.
Make a Susan Wojcicki minifigure.
I love that on like Instagram and Twitter, and people list out the entire cast of like Arrow or the Flash, and they're just like, or the entire cast of Spider-Man PS4. Make all of these, and it's like, I'm just like, yes, done in a day. You got it.
Yeah, make a Rhino from Spider-Man PS4, the whole robot suit.
If you look at the freaking Rhino or Scorpion or Vulture, oh my God, anyone who makes those guys in Lego, Godspeed. Because, oh man, that just looks like such a task. But yeah, Endgame, so close now, and
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and dude, actually, you know, while I'm at Star Wars Celebration, we're gonna have the panel for Star Wars: The Clone Wars Season 7.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that.
They just announced at Star Wars Celebration that the panel is going to Sunday morning, which is the second to last day. So I will be there for that. And Celebration is nuts, and it requires you to camp out for any panel you want to attend. But you have to be there by at least 4 or 5 in the morning and be in the queue hall. Otherwise, you're not getting in. And for the big movies like Episode 9, you got to be there the afternoon before and camp out through the night on the cold, hard floor. And it's a crazy, crazy thing. Clone Wars Season 7 on the second to last day. Now we know for sure, for a fact. And Dave Filoni's going to be up there with the cast. So you're going to have Matt Lanter and Ashley Eckstein, James Arnold Taylor, D. Bradley Baker. And for those of you guys who don't know, Matt Lanter is Anakin, Ashley is Ahsoka, James is Obi-Wan, and so on. D. Bradley Baker is the clones, etc. And Dave Filoni, again, the director of the series. And some are speculating that they may even show us the first episode or two, because that previous, because that dude at like Comic-Con in previous years and a couple other events, they would do screeners for the first episode or two of a new season for Star Wars Rebels. Now, it might be different. It might be different because this is going up on Disney Plus and not Disney XD, so they may not be able to show us new episodes, but we will definitely be getting new footage at the very least. And I'm very excited for that because this has been a dream come true. Something that I never thought we would get is a final season to conclude what I consider to be my favorite series of all time. And, you know, it's very exciting. And I just cannot wait to be there to show my support for all these people who so indirectly had such a big impact on my life and so many millions of people around the world. They don't even realize it's hard to fathom, you know?
Absolutely. So Jamie Dorr says, the one question is this: is the Clone Wars saved, truly saved? I don't know. You know, we're going to have to see. Is this the season 7 that they were planning in the past? We'll see.
Oh, so like, is it like, meaning, is it going to?
I think you cut out there, Ross. You cut out.
Yeah, you're cutting out for me too. So this is kind of.
Oh, jeez. I think what he means, though, how I'm interpreting this is, is this going to be the same Clone Wars as the Clone Wars from 4 years ago?
Right.
I don't know.
Right. So is it going to be dog shit like Star Wars Rebels was for 80% of the time? I mean,
It's hard to say. We won't know until we're there.
It is possible. And if that is the case, I will be completely done with Disney Star Wars. If that is the case and they tarnish the Clone Wars and Dave Filoni has less influence on this than we are all thinking, I am done and I'm out. The same way I'm out with the DCEU and I've given up on the DCEU, I will give up on Disney Star Wars because that will be the ultimate insult. And I would not be able to get past that. But at the same time, I don't think Dave Filoni is going to let that happen. But who knows, man? Because he let a lot of other awful stuff happen that was probably out of his control in Star Wars Rebels. So it's totally up in the air. We'll find out this year, though.
What's unfortunate is when you have a backer like Cartoon Network, when that's your publisher, Cartoon Network's super lenient with their original series.
It's very adult-oriented platform now.
Yeah, absolutely. Their cartoons are very much all ages. They're very kind of open-ended, and Disney is very much a fascist organization who has to have things their way. You work for Disney, and you get, little bits of say, and it's just, it worries me, dude. I have not seen Solo. I'm not going to see Solo. I'm not going to watch. I'm not watching episode 9. I'm not going to. I was burned really hard with episode 8. I was burned really hard with kind of. I liked Rebels, but it started to get very, just you could tell it was a Disney show, not a Star Wars show. Yeah, right. I feel similarly to Star Wars now. I've lost interest in Star Wars. I used to read Legends comics all the time, and then that's one of the few memories I have of my childhood is reading Legends comics and novels, and that just being thrown away. It's just, the new canon is not for me. I'm kind of like a DC situation where I'm just kind of not giving it time, but I'm really hoping that season 7 is at least decent. If it's a 7 out of 10, a 6 out of 10, that is fine by me, but I just hope it's not dog shit.
Listen, man, I am glad this is happening, period. This is a dream come true. And something that I think that, but I also do like to take into, that I still like to appreciate, even if I really disliked Last Jedi and it's a barely coherent movie. And that's coming from somebody who met Rian Johnson in the Q Hall building at 1 a.m. online for the original Last Jedi panel at Celebration. I was, the most supportive fan of it's like to, and so I'm saying, by me saying that, it's fair to say that there's a problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
But at the same time, I can't help but remember when I was a kid, getting to the end of watching the Star Wars saga countless times and always wondering if there would ever one day be more, if we would ever get episode 7 or any more movies. And we did, and they're not perfect, and one of them is horrendous, but at least it's happening because a few years ago, none of this was possible.
Nope.
A few years ago, the Clone Wars coming back didn't seem like a reality, and it's happening. So there are good things here, if you look at it from a more general sense. But I'm just happy that we're at least getting the Siege of Mandalore because that is the closest event.
Oh my God! Yeah,
that we know. Yeah, 4 episodes of the Siege of Mandalore, I think, and
that'll be awesome.
Yeah, it's really exciting, man, because that's the direct link for the Clone Wars to Revenge of the Sith. So I'm looking forward to it.
Real quick,
I'm just glad we're at least getting that.
I hope season 7 is chronological. and not an anthology like the rest of the series, because it'll be kind of annoying to all of a sudden be put back into like a season 3 area, which they haven't done jumps that bad. But
here's the thing about that: there have been rumors that it's apparently going to be all new episodes, meaning not just bits and pieces of what they were working on.
Yeah.
So. But then then the Comic-Con trailer directly contradicts that because those shots were taken right out of the Bad Batch arc that they posted the unfinished versions of online. Yes. So I don't know what's going to be the case. It's all up in the air until they tell us more at Celebration and ultimately when Disney Plus goes live. But
man, I'm so reserved. I'm holding my reserves. I'm really worried.
Holding your reserve?
I'm holding my reserves.
That can be taken several ways. You're holding your reserves. Um, yeah, man. So it's a dream come true, but it could also not be.
Yeah, I'm very gun shy.
But are
Maybe
you
that's it.
excited for our second Captain Marvel movie this year? Shazam.
Oh my, the true Captain Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Now, Russ, let me tell you, I'm a DC guy. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a DC guy, and I think DC needs to either go full on Christopher Nolan, or they need to go, you know, Russo. Not Russo brothers, because they're very Christopher Nolan in their movies. But like the guy who, what's up?
You're cutting out for me again.
Oh, okay, sorry about that. But they either need to go Chris Nolan, Russo brothers, or they need to go all the way to like Guardians of the Galaxy kind of humor, right? And I genuinely think Shazam is going to be good. I think that it's going to be. I'm super gun shy to DC, but this is the first time I've watched a trailer and said, okay, they figured it out. Like
yeah, I mean,
Wonder Woman,
it looks good as a standalone movie, but I hope they're not trying to fit it into the DCEU because it is. DCEU is baked, man.
We need solo films. We need okay, so remember Phase 1 of Marvel, how it was a bunch of solo films that like connected through post-credit scenes?
Yeah, and they did it backwards and it backfired.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I kind of liked that.
No, I'm saying
you mean DC? No, DC definitely did it backwards. They started with a big group movie and then they kind of went from that. But if Shazam full movie, and then the post-credit scene has a connection to, let's just say, Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey, full movie. Then they have a connection to the Batman solo movie. Batman solo movie, full movie. Just Batman movie. Maybe you take a couple of. Maybe
but
you take
what is
Margot
the point of that if you can't? If your universe is done, you know, there's no cinematic universe anymore,
right?
And people will, you know, to the contrary. But listen, man, when you've got Ben Affleck just being pulled out, recast. Here's a new Batman. Sorry if
that's
you were getting
not working.
Ben Affleck. Oh, did you like Will Smith as Deadshot? Look, pull him out. Gone. Here's Idris Elba. Hope you don't mind Heimdall shot. And then you just, you know, you keep going with this, and they're gonna do Jared Leto next. They're gonna do Henry Cavill next. You know, it's like, what is this? This is not a cinematic universe anymore. They tried to make it a cinematic universe. Now it's fallen apart. It's a shame because That's why it hurts me the most, man, because I was one of the Snyder fans, just such a massive supporter, and I just adored Man of Steel, absolutely loved BVS despite its flaws, and I loved Wonder Woman, adored Aquaman, and to just be smacked in the face now with Warner Brothers' initial lack of foresight finally coming back to bite them in the ass, and it coming at the fans' expense, I think is just so massively disappointing that I just will never put my faith in any cinematic universe again until I see it work for at least 5 to 10 years. I mean, it's like
I just really want there to be solo DC movies that are loosely connected. Wonder Woman was a solo movie. It was a solo movie. I didn't like the end of Wonder Woman. That doesn't matter. It was a solo movie, but the letter at the beginning was from Batman. That's it. That's the only connection to the rest of the DCEU. That's it.
Yeah.
So like with Shazam full movie. And then at the end, they could be like, "Oh my God, Shazam and Superman have some sort of alien connection."
Is that not a shame that we can't have the big crossovers for the most iconic superheroes of all time because they couldn't get their shit together?
Dude, okay. I'm gonna say this, and this is controversial. DC, the Justice League is more iconic than the Avengers because of the fact that the Justice League has 100%. It has more media. It has more cartoons.
Listen,
the 90s. It has more comic books. It has more.
Listen, the world knows Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Super Friends, the idea, more than the Avengers or Iron Man or Captain America, even now after the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Those original three and the idea of Super Friends, Aquaman, they all still remain the most iconic superheroes to ever be created.
Of course.
Spider-Man, obviously, you know, is more popular than the Avengers still himself. And, you know, even after a successful cinematic universe. And they are up there now, you know, and that's what the MCU has done. But to have this, you know, for this to have failed and for us to now be in a place where we're just loosely hopping from good solo movie to good solo movie and avoiding crossovers because they are rushing them. And that is such a shame.
Nobody has time to learn their character. That's a big thing.
Potential to bait us and to have that potential just, it's like a carrot on a stick that you never get.
Right.
That is something I will not be a part of.
With cinematic universes, you need people to start becoming the character that they play. And it's super limiting from a career standpoint, but like, look at Chris Evans. Right? Chris Evans has been Captain America since what, 2011?
Yeah, I'm so thankful that he's stayed on for as long as he has.
But anyway, my point is that he's had time to learn the character. He had a solo movie, then he had the Avengers. He had time to learn his character. He had a solo movie, then he had the first team-up movie, the Avengers. Then he had another solo movie, then he had another team-up. He's had time to evolve. If you say, hey man, here's the Flash. The Flash is a nutty guy, and then you throw him into a team-up movie, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. If you, Batman is a tough guy. That's it. Here's nothing. Here's no internal conflict. Here's no him coming to terms with his parents. You don't really see him come to terms with anything, whether that be his parents' death, whether that be Jason Todd's death, or whether they're doing Dick Grayson or Jason Todd, does not matter. Whatever the Robin's death is. He didn't have time to grow. We're just kind of told, hey, this is an old, gruff Batman. He had a lot of shit happen to him in the past, but we were told that a lot of shit happened to him in the past.
It was a mistake to do that, to start your cinematic universe. As soon as they introduced both Batman and Wonder Woman into the mix in 2013, 2012, whenever they started, whenever Zack Snyder came up with this idea, the moment they did that, they were signing up for the long haul. This was to be a cinematic universe like Marvel. And to then, listen, this hurts for me to say because I love Ben Affleck as Batman. He was incredible, and I love Zack Snyder's vision. To then go and cast Ben Affleck, an older Batman, at the beginning of your universe, what a mistake.
Okay, yeah, let's write a movie. Let's write a movie about a Marine.
Some passion trip for The Dark Knight Returns. It's like that should have never been.
Let's write a movie about a Marine. Right? And then let's not show his training. Let's not show him in Iraq. Let's just show him during his last 2 weeks of service, where nothing happens.
Yeah.
Let's take. It's like taking the Indiana Jones Crystal Skull movie. You know how Indiana Jones is always like, oh yeah, I remember flying the plane in Ariba and this, that, and the other thing. He's just telling us all this cool shit he went on in between Indiana Jones 3 and Indiana Jones 4, and we got this kind of half-baked adventure.
So Tate, listen, I mean, this was the idea. They were going to not explore Batman stories with the DCEU. They were going to go cosmic with this very quickly. They were going, in the next movie, they were going straight to Apocalypse.
Right.
They were going to introduce the Green Lantern Corps. This was going to be Batman at the end of his career, brought out to then, have to now face the greatest threats he's ever seen.
But that doesn't work.
After all of that stuff happened, right, that doesn't work because you can't cast an old actor and expect him to stay on for 10 or 15 years. That's nuts.
You also can't expect the audience to connect with the character they know nothing about. So, okay, Ross, right? Let's say the podcast viewers, they've been with you for years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, here's Tate. He's going to do something badass. It's like, no, make Ross do something badass because we know Ross. We've been with Ross since, whenever you started making figs, all those years ago. We were with Ross since he was doing brick films.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was flawed from the start. And you see what Feige and Marvel have done is they have had foresight and proper planning. That has made this function for the long haul. They have thought about these things.
Absolutely.
And I mean, one could argue that maybe they didn't with Robert Downey Jr. because it's not like Robert Downey Jr. was super young when he started out either. But, even on top of that with Batman, there's a physical element that has to always be maintained for these movies. And unless you are Chris Hemsworth, who does it regardless of what movie he's doing, you can't expect that of someone, especially...
yeah, but Chris Hemsworth is 30, not 50. It's way easier to keep in physical shape, no matter the situation when you're 30, not when you're 50.
And so to then give us the perfect older Batman, an incredible movie. I love Batman versus Superman despite its problems with Lex Luthor and the story. To then give us that, to dangle the perfect Superman in front of us who still has yet to fully realize his potential, and to then just let all of this collapse. Because listen, man, name an actor working today who's going to play a better Superman or a better Harley Quinn. Who is out there that's going to do better than that? They're casting the perfect actors working today for a collapsing cinematic universe that has no, that's losing its potential for longevity. And it's like, God, and now they just cast Idris Elba as Deadshot. He should have been Jon Stewart as Green Lantern or something else. I mean, even Idris Elba, he's not going to be able to stay on as Deadshot for long. Like, what are they doing?
How old is he? He's like 50-something, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, what is that? It is a colossal shame because, again, as somebody who adored Man of Steel, BVS, and just everything that they've done despite the problems, to then just have this thrown back in my face and all of the fans that were on board too, have it all thrown back in their faces. It is such a shame. I went to Kansas City in 2016 to see Batman vs. Superman with a couple friends.
Yeah, you told me
We love Batman. We love the DCEU so much that we used one of the movies as an excuse to travel halfway across the country to see it with a friend. That's how much we love the DCEU. And it's like, and to have it all thrown back in our faces has been just so insulting because they just did not plan anything properly. And it's a shame. But yeah. So anyway, Shazam looks great. And apparently following test screenings, it's sounding really awesome, and I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, I love Zachary Levi. I think he's the perfect pick for Billy Batson. And, I'm looking forward to it, man. It looks like it's going to be the perfect Shazam movie. I mean, there are some rumors going around that we won't touch on that are spoilery that could potentially hint toward some less than stellar ideas for a very first movie.
I'm cutting you off here. Ross, because if you keep going, I'm going to start ranting because I'm very frustrated. But let's hope that they're just leaks and they don't mean anything.
And yeah, I mean, I'm probably Shazam 2 at some point pretty soon. I wouldn't say pretty soon, but at some point probably later on in the spring or the summer.
Okay, huge plug right now. Cape Madness has awesome Shazam capes. So.
Oh yeah, I'll have to check that out, man.
Yeah. Special thanks, Dave. Special thanks.
Yeah. So.
Oh man, but yeah, I really hope Shazam is a witty and smart comedy. It just needs to be. It needs to be this in between that kind of Marvel. It needs to be in the Marvel kind of genre. The Marvel genre of a witty superhero movie.
Yeah, but then even Shazam is these connections to Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman, and it's just like at this point, why?
Jeez. Yeah, I'm changing the topic. I'm getting upset. All right. Oh man. So
what's chat saying?
So Tweetiest says, I've watched the whole stream, and Michael, yes, thank you so much for your support.
Thanks so much. You took it around, dude.
Yeah, that's awesome. Jamie Dorr says, that reminds me of Harrison Ford in episode 7. He dies. Oh, I think he's talking about the whole Batman thing. Yeah, but the difference is, like, Ben Affleck Batman, we haven't seen his past. In episode 7, we already know Han Solo's past. We already know all about it.
But still, it was a crime to not get all three of them back together.
That's true.
In The Force Awakens.
100%. 100%.
Because it's like, I'm sure they intended it at some point, but to hand different directors who had different ideas, and to have Carrie Fisher pass away and Harrison Ford, and to kill Harrison Ford, kill Han Solo off in Force Awakens, it's like that idea was quickly fading around them, and it's like no one did anything about it early on in the production for The Force Awakens, and it's like, that's aggravating.
For sure. And then
to assume that the actors would have been around, to assume that Mark Hamill would have been around to cross over, I think it was a shame.
Yeah, they're getting older. They're getting older. And
so now Carrie's gone, and we'll never have that moment.
Yeah, you're right. Tweetia says Shazam looks so good. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So man,
wow.
I think
that's a lot. We've talked about a lot today.
Yeah. We've covered quite a bit, Tait.
We've covered quite a bit in a short period of time. So
how about the cons that you went to?
Oh yeah, so I'm just gonna cover that really quick. So
yeah, in your game,
Bricks Cascade was February 28th through March 3rd. If you were there, awesome. It was lots of fun. It was a great con, met lots of great people. So yeah, quick shout out to Bricks Cascade. Portlook put on a great event. And then Bricks by the Base coming up here July 11th through 14th. I know it's 3 months away, but it's still something to think about. I would recommend going to cons if you're on the West Coast. I'm on the West Coast. These cons
I'm on the East Coast. And I've been going to Brick Fair for the last 9 years. So after last year, I made the commitment. I'm taking this year off from Lego cons.
Yeah, Ross, you got to come over here, and I got to go over there one of these years so we can see the difference.
Hey, man, I've got a friend today.
But anyway, guys, so those are the cons, and yeah, I'm presenting my games at all the cons. My game's Into the Inferno. It's a World War II survival game. So if you're interested...
Tabletop game.
Yeah, tabletop game. So if you guys are interested in playing something like that, then that's where you can find me. But yeah, so that was the test stream. What'd you think, Ross?
I think it went pretty well. A platform, a medium that both of us have kind of craved to some extent, because that's something about my channel, about the brief videos that I do. You know, I hop on to showcase my minifigures, and I talk about the minifigures and maybe the movie briefly, or maybe, you know, I'll do a vlog here and there where even there I have to talk about the movie briefly, or you know, when I post like a review on my main channel, I talk about it briefly, 10 or 15 minutes, really can't go beyond that. So to have like a podcast where we can just talk about this stuff, you know, mostly at length every week, I think is very exciting.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
This has been awesome. And we're just going to continue to fix up those graphics some, and we're going to maybe get a better name going, something more clever other than just the MGF podcast. So that is absolutely subject to change. That's something we will have to make more clear with the actual episode 1, which should be next Saturday, I believe.
Should be, yeah. But yeah, we hit off our friendship by talking for like 5-hour blocks. So it's really cool to be able to talk to other people as well.
Yep.
I'm noticing a typo right now. I accidentally put September 16th, not March 16th for the launch date. But yeah, we're going to try next Saturday, March 16th.
How did you put September?
I accidentally clicked 9, apparently. I didn't notice that.
Okay. I thought you actually September.
No, I didn't write it out. No, I just put a 9 instead of a 3. It was a definite misclick. But anyway, yeah, we're gonna just be evolving this. We're gonna be changing things as we go along. Like what Ross said, we're gonna be changing the name. We're gonna be maybe changing the format up a little bit. I want to get a better system for chat engagement, because I think we did okay, but I think we can do better. What do you think, Ross?
Absolutely. Yeah, and I actually never even got WeChat or whatever it is working on my browser, and I just had to pull up the YouTube app.
Yeah, I'll help you with that going forward. But yeah, we're going to work on graphics. We're going to work on the name. We're going to work on a lot of stuff.
Audio dropouts, hopefully.
Yeah, these audio dropouts are not fun.
Yeah, they've been quite literally breaking conversation.
But yeah, that's been MGF Live. Any closing thoughts, Ross?
I'm very excited to keep this going, and this is something that we're both hoping to do for the long haul, so we can talk about these things at length where we otherwise can't.
Yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. I was Tait.
Until next time. I was Ross, apparently.
And this was MGF Live. Have a good one.